secure and anonymous, which I think that's very important, environment to take advantage of that market. So what does that really mean to us, right? So for you New Orleans entrepreneurs, if you're familiar with Django Unchained, it was actually filmed here in New Orleans back in 2012. The production budget for Django Unchained was $100 million. It was out of a production company out of California, came to Louisiana. Now, why did they come to the state of Texas? The state of Louisiana? They came here because the state is offering incentives. So basically, they offer a percentage. Let's say it's approximately 30%, just for we won't cut hairs here. Approximately 30%, and that allows the company to apply that to their taxes to reduce their tax liability. Well, that sounds really great, doesn't it? But I just said they were based out of California. So if they're receiving LA tax credits, from what are they going to do with that, really, right? So this particular option, or this, I apologize, this is providing the opportunity for production companies based in other states to take advantage of extended liquidity and sell those particular tax credits to people that are in the state that can reduce their liability. So the founders,
it's a tricky clicker.
It is. Our founders, Peter and Raylan Loop, have extensive experience in the tax credit space. Peter was an institutional equity trader. He also was the former Louisiana Film Commissioner, and he helped develop the program in Louisiana, which has been adopted in several states across the United States. He's brokered over $100 million of tax credits in the state of Louisiana, and they really saw that there's an opportunity here. The market today takes place face-to-face. It's not very transparent. It's clunky. There's a lot of filing that needs to take place, as well as determining regulations. They wanted to bring the tax credits to people like you and I. So in February of 2013, they started this online platform. Within the first 3 weeks, they transacted $12 million worth of tax credits, which I think is pretty impressive. As of 11:58 last night, I didn't check, I had someone research it for me. There are $6 million worth of credits available for purchase online on their website. So it's a proven business model at this point. The Loops approached us with our particular task here, and it was to develop an expansion strategy to enter other markets quickly and intelligently. There's a lucrative market here, and we want to capitalize on first mover advantage and get there ahead of any kind of competitors. So when they originally approached us with this task, they were focused primarily on market share. And these numbers that you see here were collected from us by contacting the Department of Revenue across many states. This information isn't available readily online. Quite extensive project. So after we compiled this, we decided maybe market share isn't the only basis that we should approach these markets. We also need to leverage the credibility of our founders as well, but we don't want to be satisfied with just taking this initial number. So for instance, California seems like a really attractive state to enter with $1.4 billion worth of credits available, but is that really the right place to go? Is that strategic? So we developed 4 deliverables that will help them make a choice in deciding which markets to enter. How, when, who are we taking there, what's the cost of those markets, and Connor's going to elaborate on that for us.
Thanks a lot, Erin. In answering those 4 questions that Erin was talking about that needed to be answered for the business to reach its full potential, we fundamentally rethought the strategy of the business in answering those questions. So in identifying where we're going to go forward with this business, we realized it was critical to create a rubric or a decision matrix in order to identify those markets that we're going to enter. And the key components that go into, well, there's a number of variables that basically outline the complexity of the market. It's not as simple as a simple dollar amount or value for each state. That would be not hedging the risk of the complexity of entering foreign markets. So creating this rubric really allowed us to identify the optimal markets that we need to enter. And once we really found those markets that we're going to enter, we need to identify who we were going to use as influencers and gatekeepers in order to promote the word-of-mouth advertising of the business and educate others on how to trade tax credits through e-tax online. Once we identified the optimal markets to go into, and those individuals, such as CPAs, financial planners, entrepreneurs, and then on the institutional side, through our research, we found that insurance companies and banks were some of the highest users of tax credits across the country. So what we did was we targeted specific events such as conferences and seminars where we could capitalize on the presence of these individuals in one place as we move across the country. So that being said, what we did was we created a roadmap, essentially, in order to meet the expectations of the entrepreneurs in moving across the country and promoting the business and educating others. So what we did in rethinking the strategy of the business was not just moving across the country and promoting e-tax. We realized to become thought leaders, we want to be the institution of educating anyone that has questions on tax credits and how to trade them. So we realized in doing that, as you can see there's the roadmap, what we needed to do was bring on key personnel by phase, okay, in order to really allow us to develop this intelligence-centric organization is what it needed to become to reach its full potential. We couldn't rely on the previous experience of Peter and Raylyn Loop in brokering tax credits as they're entering foreign markets. To reach the full potential of this business in a highly complex market, they were going to have to develop a core or a nucleus of analysts that are keeping on track of every single change in the tax credit industry, the regulations, and ensuring that it's intelligence-driven operations rather than operations-driven on experience in a local or known market. So systematically, you can see we're bringing on key personnel there. Now, what it's going to cost. Answering that last piece of the four pieces that we had to answer, we essentially rebuilt from scratch the financial model. My buddy David spent 4 days literally poring over Excel all day long in order to deliver a financial model that was based on numbers and data rather than expertise or vague assumptions. And so after extensive research, our projections are a tax credit market for 2013 of $4.5 billion at least, and transactions for e-tax credit of $185 million, leaving a revenue for e-tax of $3.7 million. And these numbers, as I said, come from a rebuilt, restructured financial model that is going to allow flexibility in moving forward into those new markets. So we believe we've created value for this company, and we think we've done so with 150 research hours, 20 interviews over the phone and in person, departments of revenue, which is often very difficult to get in touch with anybody, and then 10 documents that are critical to allowing the Loops and anyone else they may bring on to understand the mission and move forward in order to reach the full potential of the business. And 3 parking tickets. Tough to avoid here in New Orleans, but it's part of what we incurred. But we think that what we are able to get back from this experience working with them in their business is far more valuable than what we provided. We think this hands-on, invaluable, real-world business experience is something that we can take with us for the rest of our business careers. And we want to thank you, Raylyn, and Ideacorp for giving us the opportunity to do this. So, yeah, thank you. Any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. Thanks a lot. Yes, sir.
Please, you can come up and join. That'd be great. The whole team. We'd love to get the entrepreneurs up also. So just as you went through the project, where were there twists and turns? So where were there points that you thought the company and you thought you were going in one direction, you ended up going in a different?
That's a great question. We actually sort of, in the beginning, without knowing a whole lot about the industry or about the business, we were hesitant to make bold recommendations. And so we're saying yes to the recommendations or the guidance I said a little too easily, but as we became more knowledgeable, we decided it was okay to become a little bit more bold and sort of provide them with some direction and guidance that may not be what they were originally thinking. And it had to do with their experience of something that they have in their head, and we couldn't see, and it wasn't quantified, it wasn't very tangible for us to identify why they were choosing those markets to go into. And we realized that could be a problem for the business to reach its full potential. So that's where we had to fundamentally rethink the strategy and create this rubric that's going to identify the optimal markets to go into and capitalize on the presence of key gatekeepers and influencers. So the business could succeed.
And help me understand the exchange. Is it simply an information exchange? This is available, or can you transact all the way through to completion on the exchange?
Right now, it is transacting, as Aaron mentioned, $12 million in credits here in Louisiana. That's all being done on the website. So that's up. But we think in